Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Valroc. Valroc is brought to you by Archmage Games. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and games generally run about 60 to 90 minutes. Welcome to Valroc, the famous city of wizards. You have been preparing in this magic school for several years now, and all your years of work will finally pay off. The Wizards Tournament will bring glory and wealth as rewards, but the opponents who face you are just as powerful and cunning. You will use all your talents to fight terrible and fierce creatures, competing in a great tournament to acquire the Master of Wizards title. With the help of your assistants, earn skill points in each of the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air, and enter the arena to tame and chase the most dangerous creatures from the land. In Valroc, you play as wizards in this competition to acquire that Master of Wizards title. To earn this title, you have to defeat terrible creatures or tame them. The first player who has defeated or tamed 6 creatures ends the game. The winner is the player with the most prestige points. So first off, let's take a look at your player boards. Now, here you'll find your magic power, which is at the very top. You're going to be spending this when you go into battle and do various things. Also, below that, you have your skill points in all the different elements. And then below that, you're going to have your hybrid score. So when you defeat hybrid creatures, you'll have some negative value at the end of the game, but they generally will give you lots of points to help offset that and so forth. So also you have your 3 pawns. You have your wizard pawn, you have your assistant pawn, and you also have your mercenary. So you have 3 workers that you can use through the course of the game out on the main board, which is the city of Valroc. So let's take a look at creatures. Now there's 3 different types. You've got wild, mythical, and tameable. Very cool. Tameable, you get to ride into battle. Now let's take a look at the anatomy of the card. So at the top is your prestige points you're going to get at the end of the game. At the bottom is the magic power required that you have to spend in order to go into battle. And on the right side of the card is the skill points needed in order to defeat the creature. All in the elements that we talked about before. Now, some of the cards have a solid background and some have a split or split screen background, so to say. And those are the hybrids that with the split. So those will end up giving you negative points at the end of the game, but they will be offset by the different prestige points that you get. Now, the thing about tameable creatures is that once you defeat them, on the left side of the card, there'll be bonuses. So you can ride them into battle, like I said, giving you bonus points to all your skills, or some of the skills. And sometimes there is negative values here as well, but it's well worth it because going to battle with creatures is a ton of fun and obviously going to aid you and make you more successful in the arena. So every time you play the game, you do have potential to have very different creatures. So in the full game, you're going to be drafting. You'll get 3 of each type, you'll pick cards, move around the table, and so forth. And then at the end, you have to weed down to 6. Or if it's your first time playing, they do give you suggested decks to start with for each of the players. So some really interesting ways to go, and I like the fact that as you draft the cards, obviously you get very different creatures to deal with in every game. All right, let's take a look at Valroc now. Through the course of your turn, you're going to be placing your workers. You can never put your different pawns or workers on the same location, so you have to spread them out. Now, the first one we're going to look at is the Dark Town. The Dark Town will give you spells, but the thing is that there's a dark wizard that lives here, so your wizard can't be dirtied by going here, so only your assistant or your mercenary can go to this town. There are great benefits when you go to one of the locations that the cards depict, and these will rotate and flip throughout the course of the game, changing up what the Dark Town does. But also, you'll be pulling these spell cards. Now, spell cards, you'll draw 1 face down, and the other you'll discard face down, so 2 cards total. The thing here, though, is that spells will do powerful things through the course of the game, but they do give you negative prestige points at the end of the game. And through the course of using this town, you'll be moving the marker up ever closer to the wrath of the gods. And when that happens, you're going to be invoking the wrath, so to say, and you'll potentially lose, I should say, skill points and so forth. So lots of neat things around the Dark Town, and it adds a lot of flavor to the game, and the spells really do come in handy. So all the locations, everything you're doing in Valroc is obviously adding to your character board, bolstering your character for battle with the different creatures. So next our stop is all about magic power. We're going to the magic fountain, trying to get more of it because we're going to be spending it frequently throughout the course of the game. Now, depending on your spot that you put your pawn or your worker will determine how many points, and you go from left to right. So if you're the last one to arrive there, then you're only going to get 1 point. But there's all kinds of interesting things with spells and so forth that can actually augment this, especially if you visit the Dark Town. And you can potentially steal points, all kinds of things. And then going to the tavern, there are coins to be had. Coins you're going to be using in offerings to the gods to get points, advantage in battle and so forth. So to get coins, go to the tavern, you go on quests. Again, it's just based on where you place your pawn, you're going to get that many coins or vows. And then we have the cavern. Now the cavern is interesting because there's different elements that you're going to land on and put your worker there, I should say. And then you're going to draw an action card. And you're a bit of a push your luck, kinda, because you draw the card and potentially you're gonna end up with nothing, but you're looking for the colored area that matches the different type of element that you're looking for. And if there's values there, you're gonna get all kinds of things. You could get vows, you could get skill points, you could get additional things like diamonds and gauges. Gauges are interesting because the thing with the gauge is a full gauge will give you 1 skill point somewhere. A half gauge you can save and use later when you get another half and combine them to get skill points. Lots of interesting things about digging in the cave for sure. Now, on the other side of the board is the training area. Putting a worker here allows you to really, truly push your luck because you're going to be spending magic power points, 1 per action card that you draw. You're looking for full gauges in the middle of the card to give you additional skill points. But the thing is, sometimes you get half, so you may have to push your luck and spend another magic power point and draw another card. Now, if you get a wound, that will stop your actions at the training area. So it is definitely that push your luck trying to get those different gauges so you can get more skill points. And then the sanctuary in the bottom left of the board is where you're going to be offering up gold or vows to one of the 4 elemental gods. And the thing is that there's a whole grid of things that can happen here. So for instance, if you put 2 coins, 1 or 2 coins on one of those gods, you're going to draw an action card. Here in that instance, you're looking for a full gauge. If you get a full gauge, then you're going to get divine intervention when you enter the arena, and it'll help you with points and skill points and so forth. So there are lots of reasons to have gold and enter into the sanctuary to help you in your fight. Now there's also bonuses of the god for people who are in the sanctuary, or in the arena, I should say, based on whichever god has the most coins on them, you'll get points to help you in battle in the arena. And then finally we have the university, where you're trying to get different lessons. These lessons are going to be very powerful and aid you through the course of the game. You'll put a worker on the card that you want to gather. You have to pay the cost. You have vows and power, magic power that you have to spend to do so. So these are going to do all kinds of various things. This one in particular is spirit magic, and will give you, at the start of the round, will give you an additional magic point. So definitely good cards to have and help you in your battle against all these creatures. Now, the arena. If you arrive, one of the first 2 to arrive at the arena, then you're going to get vows for doing so. But really, this is all about defeating the creatures in your hand. You'll pick a creature, you'll pay the magic power, you'll look at the values, make sure you can defeat it based on your player board and what values you have of those 4 elements and so forth to help and engage in those battles. And you hope to defeat them and add them to your prestige points for the end of the game. So after all the players have taken their turns, then you move to the maintenance phase. You move the round tracker up, you'll clean up the board, add more lesson cards, things like that. Now, every 3rd round, you'll move to the offering phase, and it's clearly marked on the round tracker. The thing with the offering phase is it's all about trying to get divine intervention to help you and give you more skill points. So you're offering gold or vows, diamonds, things like that to the different gods. You'll do each god in turn. Whoever offers the most will win that skill point, that divine intervention, which will give you great aid through the course of the game. Now, again, the game continues this way until one player has defeated 6 creatures, and then you're going to total points. The thing is, you're gonna grab prestige points from the creatures you defeated, but there is a hunting board. The hunting board is going to have a random selection of the order of elements on it. So every game it'll be different, but you'll have a first, second, and third place. And based on that creature's elements will determine where you fall on this board, getting more prestige points. You'll get prestige points for having the most lessons, for having vowels, all kinds of things. And not to forget that you have to deduct points for spells and for having hybrid creatures. And of course, the player with the most points will be the ultimate master wizard. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, this game has lots of interesting aspects to it where you really need to balance the vows between getting skill points, offering to the gods, and learning lessons, and getting even those spells that are going to give you negative points. I like the different areas and how the monsters or creatures can affect what you're doing, especially the ones that you tame can really aid you in the arena. All right, folks, but if this looks like something that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.